Bonjour, my friends. It's your girl T, aka the Nappy Headed Jojoba, reviving 4C Friday. No good reason, I was doing the 4C Fridays as a theme during Vlogmas, and it ain't Vlogmas no mo, but it's Friday, and I'm talking about my hair, so let's bring it back. As you saw from the title, these are items that I can't live without on my wash days. Of course, I probably could, but I certainly wouldn't want to, and this is YouTube, so superlatives are pretty much required. Some of these you will have seen me talk about before because if you're a ride or die, you know I have certain things that I always sing the praises of. But I wanted to give a more comprehensive list of things that I think make a huge difference in my wash days and my hair care, but don't necessarily get a lot of shine because we tend to focus on products, meaning conditioners and moisturizers and things like that. These products aren't really like that, and you'll see what I mean once we go through. These are more the unsung heroes that I think make a big difference in letting me get the most out of my hair care, because since day one of starting my YouTube channel, my motto was practices, not products, meaning what you do to your hair is more important than the specific items that you're buying in terms of hair conditioner, shampoo, stuff like that. To wit, the first item on my list is a Pre-Poo, specifically a Pre-Poo that helps prevent hygral fatigue. I personally like to use coconut oil because coconut oil is perhaps the most penetrative oil that there is for hair care that we know about, at least. Meaning, unlike certain other oils like say castor oil or almond oil, coconut oil can actually penetrate inside the hair strand. They have seen molecules of coconut oil inside of hair strands. Therefore, coconut oil is able to help mitigate the amount of stress and wear and tear that occurs on your hair from being wet and drying and swelling and shrinking and the cuticles lifting and flattening throughout your wash day adventures. Hygral fatigue is excessive loss of protein throughout the course of your hair getting wet and drying and so forth. So I will not do any wash day without pre-pooing my hair with some sort of oil that helps to prevent hygral fatigue. As I said, I like coconut oil, but avocado oil and olive oil are also known to penetrate the hair strand, just to a lesser extent when compared to coconut oil. So if you just don't like coconut oil, or maybe you're allergic to coconut or something like that, there are other options for you. They just may not be quite as effective as coconut oil. Here is some coconut oil that I just grabbed, but I feel like we know what coconut oil looks like, but here's a visual aid nonetheless. I do not have a visual aid for this next thing, and that is my shower filter. I will link my specific one below. I don't have a very fancy one. I certainly don't have the best shower filter out there, but because I know that shower filters can be very costly, I really wanted something that would be easy for me to afford, as well as something that would be very affordable to replace the cartridges. I live in Southern California where we have extremely hard water, so it's a lot of minerals building up on your skin, on your hair, and because of that I actually like to use the cartridges for half as long as they recommend. I believe the one I have, they say to replace the cartridge every 6 months. I try to replace mine every 3 months. Recently, mainly due to just being forgetful, I definitely stretched the cartridge far beyond what I should have. I think I had that last one in more than 6 months, and I replaced it a few weeks ago, and I can already tell a difference in just how much better my hair is responding to moisture and retaining moisture after I put on my products. So never again will I slack on replacing my filter again, because I feel like even that has made a huge difference for my hair, especially being consistent with using it and staying on top of my filter changes over the years. Next is the nozzle that I always put on my shampoo bottles. I always have an applicator tip that I switch out from whatever shampoo to the one I want to use on a particular day, because it just makes my life so much easier to really get down to them roots when I'm trying to apply my shampoo to my scalp. It's just a small thing that makes a huge difference. If you've been riding with me for a number of years, you know that I always have an applicator tip on my shampoo bottles. I started doing this years ago, and I honestly just find it so much easier than trying to get in there by applying shampoo to my fingers first and getting to my roots that way. It's just way easier to just go straight to the dome. While we're on the subject, the next thing that I cannot get through a wash day without is proper shampoo. Actual shampoo, not co-wash, not cleansing cream, shampoo. I know there are lots of people who love to co-wash, who only co-wash and never use shampoo. I am not one of them. I have absolutely experimented with eliminating shampoo in the past. That was many years ago. I just need to get a proper shampoo on my scalp at least once a month if I'm going to get the best results for my hair. This one that I've been waving around happens to be one that I like quite a bit. It's the Shea Moisture High Porosity Moisture Seal Shampoo. There are a few different ones that I like. I've talked about different shampoos that I've liked over the years. This is the one that's kind of my go-to at the moment. In terms of why I'm not really about the co-wash only life, to each his own, but I will quote African Hair God when he said, washing your hair with conditioner only is like trying to shower using lotion. I have quoted him on that line before in a past video once or twice, and I still just believe it wholeheartedly. And based on the results that I get with my hair, shampoo is a must. Another must for me on wash days is vinegar. I like to do a vinegar rinse after I have cleansed my hair and before I condition my hair. This is my coconut vinegar, which as you can see is nearly out, which is a testament to how much I use this stuff. Apple cider vinegar is also a great option. I just prefer coconut. I just love this because it imparts great shine. It makes my hair feel so bouncy after I use it. And I think because it helps to kind of shut those cuticles down because of the acidic nature of it, it really just makes a world of difference in making the following steps in my wash routine easier. Going along with that vinegar rinse is my applicator tip bottle that I use for my vinegar rinses. I'll either use this one or I have another one that's much bigger that I also like to use if I really want to get super thorough. Since cutting my hair, I have found that this is a good size. If you guys remember, I cut my hair about 10 inches off January of 2018, and I actually just cut some more off in November of 2018, which I have to do a video on that. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But I like to have a good applicator bottle. I find it's just the best way to make sure I'm controlling how much I'm using of my rinse as I go through the parts of my hair. I like to do a ratio of about 4 or 5 parts water, distilled always, because we do not have great water here in California, to 1 part of the vinegar, and I'm good to go. My next thing that I can't live without for my hair care is my microfiber turbans. I have a few. I will link this one below because this one is my favorite. Of course, there's always the option of just using a cotton t-shirt. I used to do that. I much prefer microfiber towels, and I especially love the turban style towels because they're just so easy to use. You just hook this part on the back of your head, twist up the front, and then you can either pin or however it fastens in the back. They kind of vary from brand to brand, and I just love it. Yet another thing where I don't even think about how important it is and how I basically take it for granted every wash day, but you know what? It's always there for me. Another weird one coming at you, my food scale. I use this pretty much every wash day because here's the thing. Even when I don't feel like mixing up my own products from scratch, I nearly always am adding in 1 or 2 other ingredients to my deep conditioner or some other step of my wash routine. Perhaps I'm mixing up my homemade Pre-Poo. And I love having my food scale for that because it allows me to be really precise with how much I'm adding of things without dirtying up a bunch of measuring cups and spoons. It saves me a lot of hassle, not just with doing dishes, but make sure that I can be a lot more precise when I come up with a good recipe and make sure that I can replicate it exactly every single time. It's just conditioner most of the time, so it really isn't that serious, but I do know that bakers and chefs with their recipes, they always go by weight, and there's a reason for that. It allows things to, again, be replicated the exact same way every single time and make sure that things are kept to a certain standard. When you use measuring cups and spoons, there's so much more room for error when compared to just going by the actual weight of things. And that's why whenever you guys see me share a recipe that I come up with you, I say 1/2 ounce of this, 1 ounce of that, rather than a 1/4 cup of this or 1/2 cup of that. So even when I don't feel like mixing up 10 different things, I probably am going to be adding, let me add 0.2 ounces of oil to my conditioner, or let me add 1 ounce of my real protein treatment to that, or whatever the case may be. So this has been a clutch player in my hair care every single wash day for as long as I can remember, and I've just never thought to bring it up. A not so obvious one, but yet an extremely obvious one, would be my conditioning caps. I buy these by packs of about 100, I think, if I remember correctly, because I use these every single wash day and also every single pre-poo night before my wash day. Of course, you can just use the plastic bags that you get for free from stores, but for one thing, in California, those bags were banned a couple years ago, so it's not so easy to get free plastic bags anymore these days. And I've always just preferred conditioning caps. Having the elastic to help kind of keep it snug around my head has always worked way better than just trying to tie a bag because those always slide off way worse than a real proper conditioning cap does for me. And when you buy them in bulk, they're still pretty cheap. Even if you get them at the beauty supply store, you can probably get, 10 of them for $1 or something. So conditioning caps, it goes without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. Next up are my heat sources. I never wash my hair without deep conditioning it, and I never deep condition my hair without applying heat. One of my go-tos for heat has been my hot head. I did a video on this where I reviewed it years ago, and I'll link that here, but long story short, it's still going strong. I love that this is a cordless way to be able to get some heat on my hair strands when my conditioner's in there, and it's pretty easy to use. You can just heat it up in the microwave, and it can give you up to about 20 minutes of heat, which is really all you need. Nearly any deep conditioner has done pretty much everything it's going to do for your hair in about 20 minutes anyway. And then I also have my soft bonnet hood thingy, which you guys are probably getting tired of me talking about, but it's just really handy. I love it. If I don't feel like using my hot head for one reason or another, I'll use this, but I can also use this to dry my hair, which I use with my curl former set. This is by the company that makes curl formers. You guys have seen it before, so probably don't need to take it out, but here we go. You just attach the hose end to your regular handheld style blow dryer, and then it's got a really nice big cap so you can fit your dome under there with all your rollers in if you're using them. It's got a drawstring on the side to make it snug, and then also a chin strap to go underneath so it doesn't go blowing off of your head. I couldn't even fit my head under my Pibs dryer the way I can fit my head inside this thing with the same number of rollers that I couldn't fit under my Pibs. And I love being able to use it for those two purposes, whether I'm using it to apply heat to a conditioner or to actually dry my hair on rollers or whatever. Next up is an item that if you told me a year ago I would be saying this, I probably wouldn't have believed you, but that is my combs. This one is my bottom bitch. This is my main comb that I use, but I have a few others by this brand in different sizes. They'll all be linked in the description box underneath this video, but I just love this comb because you can see how long and wide the teeth are, and it's seamless, meaning it is all one solid piece. It wasn't put into a mold and then fused together, so there's no seams going down the teeth of each tooth of the comb to snag on my hair. I used to finger detangle my hair exclusively for many years, and I started incorporating these combs again into my routine, and I have found that it has made a world of difference. I can generally detangle my hair in 30 minutes, even if it's been a month since I last detangled my hair, and I think it's all because I'm not missing as much in each session, and that allows me to keep the amount of tangles in my hair overall much lower. Next up are hair shears. These are a newer pair, but basically since day one of being on this mission to try to get my hair as healthy and luscious and full and long as I can, hair shears have been critical. A dedicated pair of hair shears is non-negotiable for me because I want to make sure that if I'm seeing a split end, a single strand knot, I want to cut it out, and I want to cut it out with the appropriate tool. I've had a few different pairs of shears over the years. These are my newest ones that I picked up, I want to say in October or November. The point is having something where I can properly remove those sorts of damaged bits of hair, or if I'm going in and doing a proper trim or cut on my hair. Having the right tool is critical because you definitely never want to be cutting your hair with household scissors. Next, we have rollers, specifically rollers just to keep my ends stretched as my hair dries. If I'm not heat stretching my hair, which I usually don't, and especially now we are in our Protect Your Ends Protective Style Challenge, so I'm not allowed to use any direct heat on my hair. So I really have to make sure that I keep my ends stretched with either my beloved Curl Squad rollers, which work by you wrap your hair around this part, and once you roll to the point that you like, you simply close it like that to keep it attached. Or I also still have my beauty supply store Satin Rollers. This is just a piece of foam inside with a wire running through it, wrapped in satin fabric and then sewn closed, and you roll your hair on it, and then you close these like such as. Both of these are great options for keeping my ends stretched and reducing the amount of single strand knots that I experience. I get a ton of single strand knots even with using these, but it would be so much worse if I didn't make sure that I kept my ends as stretched as I can by rolling the ends of my twists or braids on these at the end of every wash day so that they can dry nice and stretched. Last but not least, we have the last thing that I would be putting on my head or doing to my hair on any given wash day, and that is putting it away before bedtime in a silk or satin scarf or bonnet. This is my bonnet. As you can see, it is lined with satin, and yes, that is Minnie Mouse all over the outside because I am immature. But you know, I always have an assortment of bonnets or scarves depending on my needs that hair day, and this is a great size for me to fit my twists and braids in so I can sleep and know they're not going to be getting lots of friction and things or moisture sucked out from being against cotton fabric. And again, it's Minnie Mouse, so it just makes me happy. That's it. That's my 14 or so, I'm not exactly sure, but somewhere between 10 and 15 items that I cannot get through my wash day without. As always, I'll link all that junk in the description box for you guys so you can find it easily if you want to check out any of the items that I mentioned that maybe you've never tried before or you're in the market for a new version or whatever. And that's it for today. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.